Philip Shaibu to please step down and deliver his opening remarks. Deputy Governor, sir. Can we put our hands together for the Deputy Governor of Edo State, please? Thank you, sir.
His Excellency, the Acting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, GCON. My own Oga, His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, Governor of Edo State. Senator Ali Mekena, the Deputy Whip of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, all ministers that are here, Minister of Niger Delta, Minister of Health, Minister of Petroleum, all the traditional rulers, and all the stakeholders that are here. Your Excellency, I'm very delighted to welcome the Acting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, GCON, and his entourage to this stakeholders meeting with leaders and representatives of all producing communities in Edo State. This meeting is meant to provide a platform for government and stakeholders in oil communities to exchange views on how to resolve the challenges of oil exploration, production in the Niger Delta region. The intention is not to lament, but to find solution. We believe that this meeting will strengthen the existing partnership for development of our region and bring lasting peace to our land. The direct engagement will afford the stakeholders and leaders of oil-producing community an opportunity to table their challenges for possible government intervention. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt that engagement and dialogue of this nature will help to douse youth restiveness in the region. We need all hands to be on deck to get our economy back to track. I am confident that the federal government will consider the various submissions by stakeholders in the oil-producing community so as to fashion out a workable solution to the challenge facing the region. Edo State government appreciates the initiative of the federal government. It is our belief that we will have a successful deliberation. Your Excellency, I want to appreciate you for your timely intervention and to believe and hope that all issues deliberated today will be considered. And we are no doubt in our mind that you being senior advocate of Nigeria, a professor, and at the same time, a senior pastor, you have all the wisdom to pilot this thing to great success. Once again, I welcome the acting president and his entourage to Edo State. Thank you, and God bless you.
The ovation for the deputy governor can be louder than that. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to very specially appeal to you to please find a place for yourself. Please find a place for yourself in the hall. There are chairs there. We don't want people milling around, please. We go straight to speeches.
You just listened to the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Comrade Philip Shaibu, a former Majority Leader Edo State House of Assembly, a former member of the House of Representatives. He believes that a meeting will provide a platform between government and the people to exchange views on how to solve issues surrounding oil exploration in the Niger Delta. He believes that it will bring lasting peace to the region. The Deputy Governor is also hopeful that the engagement will douse youth restiveness in the area. And for Edo State government, there is hope that all issues deliberated here today will be considered.
Save time. Representative of Ovia Northeast. Representative of Ovia Northeast. The microphone is waiting. The podium also is empty. Representative of Ovia Northeast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to request the Eoba of Benin Kingdom, representing Ovia Northeast, Chief D.U. Edebere, who will be speaking. We want to please appeal to all the speakers that 5 minutes only is allotted to each speaker. Okay. Oh, the governor has approved 5 minutes, please, for each speaker. 5 minutes. Thank you. And as soon as you finish your presentation, there is a lady here you have to hand over to. Thank you. Come on.
Your Excellencies, the acting president of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the state governor, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, federal ministers present, distinguished senators, traditional rulers present, and all distinguished representatives of the various communities concerned. I'd like to say I join all of you to welcome to our state the acting president of the Federation of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and to say that his recent short across the various communities in the Niger Delta has yielded the desired result. We thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that peace is gradually returning to our region following the visitation of the acting president. My own duty here today to speak for the people of Ovia Northeast, which is an oil-producing area. As a matter of fact, after Olobere, Ovia Northeast was second, where oil was discovered in this country. We have been there as an oil-producing community all along. But I want to say, sir, that we have little to show for it. Our communities have little to show for what we are, an oil-producing community. We are not among those who are agitating for what they call militant something allowances or whatever. We are not militant. Even if we are militant, our militant youth are all patriotic citizens of this country. What we are putting before the acting president is that the oil companies exploring oil in our area have not shown sufficient zeal to better the lot of the people. They have not shown sufficient love to consider citizens of this area in their employment. We have not seen any sign of any of them. In AIA Northeast, we have 3 of them. They have not shown sufficient interest in the welfare of their community where they exploit this oil. So we want to appeal to the president, now that he's here, to use his good offices to prevail on these oil companies to adhere strictly to the content of the agreement they reached with the federal government before they were given the area to exploit oil. Mr. President, sir, I also want to call your attention to one vital issue. If you are coming from Lagos or Abuja, you meet on the way a bridge that cut across the whole of this area. I am very sorry that my assistant who has my papers could not follow us as we were coming. I don't know if he's in the crowd. If he's there, he can come forward and give me my papers. I wanted to show Your Excellency the map of this bridge, overhead bridge, which was primarily designed to encircle the whole of Benin area. But it went halfway. When it got to a point at Oluku, it stopped. That which could have passed through the oil producing area is the one now left undone. Some time ago, we sent people to Abuja to find out why that was so. I am not going to tell Your Excellency what we were told, but we were told, for the purpose of this discussion, that in the books there in Abuja, the project has been completed. It is not true, Your Excellency. I will submit the map and my submission on behalf of the people to the ministry, through the ministry to His Excellency, for detailed discussion and study. We want you, Your Excellency, to use your good offices and your coming to the state today, thank you, to make sure that this bridge that should normally pass through the oil producing area is completed without any delay. Finally, I have prepared about 4 points that I wanted to discuss here or submit to His Excellency. But forgive me if I cannot now. I will submit them later. As I said, my assistant is missing for now, but it's not missing in action. I will submit them to Your Excellency. But finally, I want to urge the federal government to extend to this part of the oil producing area in the Niger Delta what they want to do in the other areas to make refining of oil and gas come to the level of other citizens. I have read about it in the newspaper, and I'm sure the acting president knows what I'm talking about. And he will do his very best to make sure that we in AIA Northeast benefit from such gesture of the federal government. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, we are quite sorry about the High Chief scaling over 5 minutes. I'd like to very quickly invite Prince Johnson Alesere, JP, representing Eoba. Thank you, sir.
Your Excellency, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SANGCON. No, just hold it. Your Excellency, our amiable governor, Governor Godwin, Noregase Obaseki, all protocol duly observed. My name is Johnson Achelege. I am representing the Eoba local government of Edo State. Your Excellency, you are welcome to Edo State. We want to thank and praise you for this initiative of finding lasting solution to Niger Delta crisis. Eoba local government Edo State is having 11 oil producing communities. Number 1 among them is Obage Nekekuru. Number 2, Uho. Number 3, Obayanto. Number 4, Olobo. Number 5, Ikara. Number 6, Ajatiton. Number 7, Kolokolo. Number 8, Ajoki. Number 9, Ajamora. Number 10, Abiala 1. Number 11, Abiala 2. In Olobo have 49 oil wells with a giant flow station and a gas plant. And almost all the oil wells are flowing. In Kolokolo, Ajoki, Ajamora, we also have a giant gas plant and a flow station owned by NPDC. Sahara Energy is also having oil well in Ajoki, Kolokolo, and Ajamora. Your Excellency, I'm happy to say this without fear of any contradiction. For over 40 years, there have been oil exploration and exploitation in our areas. There is no case of hostage. There is no case of kidnapping. There is no case of bombing of oil pipeline. No case of bombing of the flow stations. Your Excellency, this is due to the way and manner we, the head of the communities, are organizing the affairs of this community. In these communities, we want to say that there is no presence of government in all these oil producing communities. What we have there is total neglect, abandonment, underdevelopment, marginalization, slavery, and what you have. His Excellency, sir, from Ologbo to Ikara to Ajatito to Kolokolo, Ajoki, and Ajamora, there is no leak road to all these communities. If you are living here to your to your flow station in Ajoki, Kolokolo, and Ajamora, you have to go to Delta. From Koko, you have to cross back to Edo State with badge and talk before you can access the flow station in Edo State. Your Excellency, sir, in all these communities, most especially Ikara, Ajatiton, Kolokolo, Ajoki, Ajamora, Abiala 1, and Abiala 2, there is no health facility. In all these communities, there is no one single hospital. You say? Okay. There is no single health facilities in all these communities. If our people are sick, they have to take boat and cross to Delta before they can get to the hospital. The worst part of all, no school. Our people in these riverine communities are breeding generations of illiterates. Their children are not going to school. About 10 years ago, the people of Abiala cried to the government that their school building collapsed. Our Esopadek, the commission, came out that they want to build a 6-room class block for Okotia Primary School. Your Excellency, as we are speaking, there is no foundation in that place. And all the money made for that project have been collected in Okotia Primary School, Abiala. If you come to Ajamora, the school they are building in Ajamora has not gone to little level. If you get to Ajoki, we have Buwa Primary School in Ajoki. They are using their family house for school. The Ajoki Grammar School, we only have 1 principal and 2 teachers. Am I communicating? His Excellency, our people there are breeding generation of illiterates. Their children are not going to school because there is no government presence there. Your Excellency, sir, we want to beg you. In terms of appointments, our people are not considered. It is only of recent that our God-fearing governor, Adams Oshomole, gave us a commission. When he visited us and saw that we were living in urgent poverty and our message are not communicated to him, he gave us a commissioner. So, my people, let's thank Adams Oshomole. Your Excellency, sir, if you want to construct road from Ologbo to Kolokolo, Ajoki, and Ajamora, it's going to take money. We want to beg you to kindly assist our governor. Few months he have resumed. We were in Ajoki when we saw surveyors surveying from Ologbo to Kolokolo that the governor want to prepare road for us. We equally saw surveyors from Ekenwa to Umwa and Kolokolo that the governor is not happy. That Governor Basaki is not happy, that he want to access the flow station from his office, from Edo State, that he will not be happy to be passing through Delta State. We want to beg you to assist our governor to construct road, a leaky road from Ologbo to Kolokolo. We want to equally beg you, sir. 2 years ago, we saw Oshomole crying in television that our fund, our ecological fund for Edo State was not paid. Please, we want to strongly appeal to you to help us. If that money is still with the federal, they should release it to the state so that our amiable governor can work. Your Excellency, sir, we want to beg you to talk to our governor, to call the chairman of Esopadek and the commissioner representing us. What has happened to the money meant for Okotia Primary School, Abiala? Ajamora School, Kolokolo School, Ajoki School. They should come and account for it for the state. And we want to beg you, sir, you should help us to beg our governor. We need teachers for Kolokolo Primary School, for Ketia Primary School. I earlier on told you that Ajoki Grammar School have 1 principal and 2 teachers. Governor Shomole made the arrangement before he left that qualified people from the riverine communities who are used to the terrain should apply. We want to beg the governor, sir. We should call them so that teachers can be transferred to the school. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. That was Prince Johnson Aselege, JP, Community Head.
We've had speakers for AIA Northeast and Eoba local government areas affirming that indeed the fact-finding mission will yield results. But they also raised some critical points concerning their local government areas and appealing that oil companies reach agreements reached by them and their host communities, and of course, all other issues affecting the development of the areas, especially neglect and absence of government's presence in the areas of basic amenities. We are expecting comments, questions, and contributions on a wide range of issues bothering the people.
Your Excellencies, the Acting President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and Mr. Godwin Obaseki, our amiable governor, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, representative of the Eoba of Benin, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. Oriom local government, particularly Oben, is known to be the first oil-producing community in this state. Exploration and exploitation of oil started far back in 1971. As we speak, that was with Shell Petroleum Development Company. As we speak, some other companies have joined. We have Pan Ocean doing business in the area. We have Centrical Energy, Submit Oil, Seplas, and a few others doing business in the local government. Since then, these companies have operated without any hindrances. The exploration and exploitation of oil we started around Oben, very many other communities are now part. These communities include Obozogbenugu, Ikobi, Iguelaba, Abe, Orogo, Uronigbe, Ekobiebo, Iguomohua, Ewe, Ologbonugu, Umogunohua, etc., etc. As a matter of fact, some years ago, we used to refer to our local government as the Kuwait of the state. Having stated that, sir, we want to say that the experiences we've had over the years under reference has been that of lamentable one. We do not want to repeat what other speakers have said, but suffice it to mention that in our communities, we have nothing to show for being oil producing. The only thing we have to show this time around is exodus of people from the area to Upper Sakumba in the Eoba local government area. Why the youths are moving en masse and routing Libya to Europe. And as a matter of fact, I want to say that when you hear that so many Nigerians are drowned in Mediterranean Sea, there's no time such report is given without our children being involved. It just tells the stories of the abandonment of the area. Sir, we would like you to come into this, particularly because we think that your visit is serious-minded. We think so because in 2007, there was an interaction of this nature. Our communities were invited to Abuja. But the fact that you have decided to come on your own to meet with the people at home, in their various homes, shows that something different is going to come. That, in fact, I think is the desirable change we are looking for. Thank you, sir. Without boring you down, we'd like to summarize all that has been happening to us. And I'm very sure Your Excellency must have read that work by Walter Rodney. Walter Rodney in his book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. So in the same manner, our own can be summed up in how Nigeria underdeveloped our oil-producing communities. I know. So, we want to move point by point. Number one is abandonment of projects by the NDDC and the Niger Delta Development Commission. If you go to our communities, projects that were awarded under the 3% derivation formula during the military are yet to be completed. You have water projects like that, you have road projects like that. They are yet to be completed. That is around 1988, 89. Such projects are still there. Then even the one awarded by the UNPADEC in the early 90s are there uncompleted. So we are appealing to Your Excellency to look into this. The most pathetic in recent time is the abandonment of the Benin Abraka road. In fact, I want to say that that is the worst federal government road in the whole of this country. It is impassable, and it is the only gateway to our local government area. If nothing is done between now and in the next few months, nobody can access our area. Because why? It is the only way. Then another one is preference of other non-oil producing communities in the location of projects. NDDC projects are located outside the oil producing communities. You go around Benin City, you see that. What is even more worrisome is that the one located outside the senatorial district where oil is produced are the ones that are being given attention. The reason is just that those who find themselves as the commissioners or whatever were assisted to be there by some godfathers in quote. And so they patronize communities owned by these godfathers, not the oil producing communities. Next is our exclusion of our people from the amnesty program. We want to ask a question. Just as my other friends stated, we are peace-loving. We don't fight. We don't vandalize oil pipelines. The question is that, does it mean that because people are peace-loving, therefore, they should not be hurt? They should not be given any attention? Because we want to say that we are very, very unhappy with the federal government, with the way our young ones were neglected in the amnesty program. The another one is poor quality work. The work being done by the NDDC, they are very low quality. Their roads hardly can withstand 2 years. Their water borehole do not work for more than 1 year. When you compare what they are doing with what oil and gas is doing, the state oil and gas, you'll find that theirs is a child's play. So we want to say that we need to look at all the projects they have done, and they need retouch or total overhauling. Then another one, sir, which is other pathetic, is the diversion of our oil production from our state to Delta. In our Bay area, we have about 9 oil wells for very many years. The production from that oil well is being credited to Delta State. That is unfair. The implication is that the revenue from such oil well goes to Delta. Abe is in Orion local government, but it shares border with Ogara in Delta State. Because the flow location from which those oil are gotten is located in Ovade in Delta. Therefore, they credit whatever comes from those oil wells to Delta. Having said that, sir, we have some prayers to make. Number one is to look at this last issue, crediting our production to Delta State. Number two, including our people in the amnesty program. Number three is to direct the Niger Delta Affairs Ministry to quickly ensure that the contractors working on the Benin-Braka Road returns. Otherwise, we can't enter our communities this year. Another one, completion of all ongoing projects, even as we ask that new ones should be approved for those communities that are yet to benefit. Sir, we also want to ask that our communities need to be involved in the contract awarding process. The reason is during the 3% derivation under the Presidential Task Force, our communities were involved, their representatives, the local government council, they were involved in the the award of contracts. And so it was difficult for contractors to abandon the projects. So we are asking for that as a way or as a strategy for ensuring that the project in Niger Delta, not only in our place, they stand to be benefited. Then lastly, we are saying that the Ministry of Niger Delta deserve to be made, the NDDC and the Ministry of Niger Delta, they need to be made functional. Made functional, we are suggesting that there is the need to reduce their recurrent cost because they are intervention agencies. So the idea of having omnibus bureaucracy and all of that will really not affect the downtrodden masses, the real communities for which these agencies were set for. So all you see, when you get to NDDC, you have contractors carrying bags, the whole place is busy doing nothing. So please, we are advocating that capital intention projects should be focused on rather than democracy. Thank you very, very much.
He ended up his speech on a political note. Thank you. Take this along with you. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have some quiet in the hall, please? Can we have some quiet in the hall, please? Let there be no noise in the hall, please. Very quickly, we want to invite Madam Victoria Kotoki, a one-time essay to Governor of Edo State on Niger Delta affairs, and who is now the women leader, to please come over. Madam Victoria Kotoki in the hall, please.
Yes, madam, on you, please, pan.
Same tale of woes. All speakers so far lamenting the state of abandonment that has led to rural-urban drift, especially of youths. Abandoned water, road, and school rehabilitation projects everywhere. No electricity. Oriomo representative has also complained of exclusion of youths from the federal government's amnesty program. Now, what you're seeing here today is what democracy is all about, getting first-hand information from the people on what their problems are and how to address them. That is exactly what the federal government is doing.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, Godwin Nogayase Obaseki, kindly permit me to stand on the already established protocol. My name is Robert Okubo, the Amakrobotarian one of Niger Delta. Your Excellency, sir, it gives us a great pleasure for your fact-finding visit to Edo State on how to end and resolve the issue as regarded to Niger Delta region. Your Excellency, sir, I would like to thank God for this noble and fundamental idea, and it was like the wise decision of Solomon in the Bible. And the Almighty God will continue to give you the zeal and wisdom to tackle all issues raised before you and provide needed solutions. Your Excellency, sir, it is a known fact that I am here to represent the leadership of the ex-agitators and all Edo youth in Edo State, which is a privilege, and your visit will be a turning point for the Niger Delta region. Sir, first and foremost, we pledge our full loyalty to the federal government of Nigeria and all our policies put in place on how to develop the region, and it's worthy of note to also inform you that all youths and ex-agitators have pledged to protect all government infrastructures, pipelines located around against vandals and illegal activities. Your Excellency, sir, permit us to also appreciate the effort of the following persons made so far in order to achieve this needed peace. The Honorable Minister of Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku, Honorable Minister of Niger Delta, Pastor Usani, and the Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta and Coordinator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, General P.T. Boro. They are all put their best in order to achieve the sustainable peace needed for the development of Niger Delta. And we also salute the courage of our fathers and support the 16-point demand presented to the federal government. We also salute the Executive Governor of Edo State for his kind gesture and interest to develop his youth initiative program, especially in the area of agriculture, as an alternative to oil. And his prompt attention to issues raised before him, we say carry go, our governor. Your Excellency, sir, because of time, we have the following demands from son to father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. And I know it will all be granted. 1, payment of standing pipeline surveillance of 3 months by NNPC and Ministry of Petroleum. Number 2, establishment of deep sea ports in Gelegelegbene community, which will boost the economy of Edo State and Nigeria at large. Involvement of youth in proposed modular refineries, and as well some to be located in our areas for job creation. Job allocation to youth of Edo State in the 20 billion naira EPZ project. Completion of all abandoned road projects, Udo Inikura Ofunama Road by NDDC and other abandoned projects in Edo State. Infrastructural development of our areas such as hospitals, roads, schools, good borehole and water treatment plant, etc. Establishment of youth development and skill acquisition centers. Prompt funding of the Amnesty Office for full implementation of our activities. The oil producing communities should be made to feel impact of development. Your Excellency, sir, we pray that your visit will mark a new dawn in the history of Niger Delta region and Nigeria at large. Thanks. And God bless. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Long live the Niger Delta region. Long live Edo State. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please submit your paper. We want to appeal one more time that we maintain some calm. The noise is getting alarming. If we listen quietly, I'm sure we will get the message. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me recognize the presence of Mr. Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly, Honorable Dr. Justin Okonabo, who has just arrived. A round of applause, please. Thank you. The next speaker, Your Excellencies, is speaking on behalf of PANDEF. PANDEF means Pan Niger Delta Forum. His Royal Highness, the Amananyabo of Twanbras, King Alfred Diete Spiff, representing the National Chairman, Chief Edwin Clark, CON. We also have Colonel Dr. Paul Ogbebo, Chairman Edo State of PANDEF, Edo State Chapter. Please may we put our hands together for His Royal Highness, the Amanya Nabo of Brass, King Alfred Dieter Spiff, to now speak on behalf of PANDEF. Please, we'd like to appeal that we maintain the 5 minutes allotted. Thank you, sir.
A welcome address presented by the Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, to His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, GCON, Acting President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, on the occasion of his fact-finding visit to Edo State on March the 6th, 2017, at Samuel Ogbomodia Hall, New Era College, Benin City. Your Excellency, the Acting President, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Edo State, all other protocols duly observed. We of PANDEF are delighted to stand before you on behalf of our leader, Dr. Edwin Clark, of the Niger Delta Forum, to welcome you to Edo State in continuation of your fact-finding visit aimed at finding lasting solutions to the problems and challenges of the Niger Delta. As Your Excellency is aware, PANDEF is the umbrella of the traditional rulers, elders, leaders, youths, women, and critical stakeholders of all ethnic nationalities and states and in the Niger Delta region, particularly the exploited and oppressed oil-producing communities. The advent of PANDEF in August 2016 has helped to reduce hostilities as all agitators and aggrieved groups hearken to the call made by the Forum for a ceasefire. Thus, the relative peace in the region has resulted in the increase in oil production from 1.4 million barrels to 2.2 million barrels a day, and to realize the projected crude oil output target of 3 million barrels per day. Your Excellency, PANDEF appreciates your untiring efforts as you continue this fact-finding visit to the states of the Niger Delta region. In this spirit, PANDEF wishes to congratulate the Governor of Edo State, His Excellency, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, on his election victory and subsequent inauguration. With due respect, PANDEF also extends fraternal greetings to His Royal Majesty, the Omonoba Kwalokwalo Oba Erewa II, the Oba of Benin Kingdom, for his installation and support for our work. Our forum pledges to work with government at all levels as well as with relevant stakeholders towards ensuring the attainment of a sustainable peace, justice and development of our oil-rich but neglected region. In this regard, let me remind Your Excellency of the 16-point dialogue issues submitted by PANDEF to President Muhammadu Buhari on the first day of November 2016, culminating in Your Excellency's fact-finding and implementation visit to the region. These demands encapsulate the core points of conflict and agitation by all the oil and gas producing communities. Those in Edo State include the specific matters concerning Edo State. 16-point log of demands are: 1, establishment of Gelegele Seaport and Export Processing Zone; 2, construction of the Calabar-Lagos Railway, which is designed to pass through Edo State; 3, completion of Benin-Abraka Federal Highway; 4, reconstruction of Benin-Sapele-Warri Highway; 5, construction of Uromi-Abo Road; 6, accelerated completion of Benin-Ekpoma-Auchi-Okene-Lokoja Dual Carriageway; 6. Mr. Acting President, sir, it may interest you to note that there are 3 local governments out of the 18 local government areas of Edo State that are oil and gas producing, namely AIA Northeast, Eoba, Oka, and Orion. The oil fields in these areas are mainly operated by NNPC subsidiary of Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, and Seplat, a private firm. In spite of the contribution of these local government areas in terms of oil and gas production to the Nigerian economy, there is no substantial federal presence and development in terms of infrastructure and appointments of people from these areas mentioned. By God's grace, Your Excellency, with your visit today, these neglected areas shall have the opportunity to be given priority attention to promote participation in the affairs of government in both the federal and state levels. PANDAC would like to appeal to the governor to consider the people from the oil and gas producing communities of Edo State in his yet to be constituted cabinet, headship of parastatals and agencies. Your Excellency, sir, permit us to list some of the federal government abandoned projects in the oil and gas producing communities of Edo State. 1, completion, equipping of the Skill Acquisition Center, Igualaba. 2, completion of the bypass by the Federal Ministry of Works. 3, completion of Oben, Owobo Road. 4, completion and construction of Sapele Town, Gelegele, by the Ministry of Niger Delta. 5, completion of the 42-kilometer Benin-Ekwan Ogelegele Road by NDDC. Because of the economic importance of these projects, we urge the government to direct the contractors handling these projects to go back to site, or if possible, revoke the said contracts and re-award them to more competent contractors. PANDEF wishes to express gratitude to Mr. Acting President on the policy statements made during previous visits. These policy statements include directing the multinational oil and gas communities, IOCs, to relocate their head offices to the Niger Delta. This is a major policy shift that will facilitate the social economic recovery of the status of the communities where the IOCs operate. In pursuant of this, NNPC headquarters and towers should also be relocated to the Niger Delta region because there are no business in Abuja. Opening of the Nigerian Maritime University, Okorenkoko, and the upgrade of Maritime Academy of Nigeria, Oron, to Federal University of Maritime Studies were the first break news in this regard. The decision to legalize small-scale refineries and convert them to modular ones to boost local content aspect of the petroleum industry is another historic statement by Your Excellency. Conversion process will create employment and wealth and safeguard the environment and ecosystem from further damage. Our prayer is that urgent steps will be taken for the implementation of these policies that have raised hopes of justice and equity in the oil industry. The multinational oil and gas companies, IOCs, should be made to comply with your directive. In furtherance to this, the government should instruct the NNPC and its subsidiaries, as well as the multinational oil and gas companies, to engage competent indigenous corporate bodies from the oil-producing communities in contract for surveillance contract jobs instead of the militarization of the host communities, inclusion of Edo State oil host indigents in the existing amnesty programs. The federal government should also, for sustenance of credibility and confidence, make timely and adequate funding of all amnesty programs to reduce incidents of trainees either being owed or having programs stopped, resulting in returning to communities to directly or indirectly causing restiveness and destruction to oil facilities and production. In light of the above, PANDEF is hopeful that at the conclusion of your Excellency's fact-finding tours of the region, the federal government will expeditiously set up the much-awaited negotiating team for the 16-point dialogue document. It's only at this level of interaction that the core demands can be examined at all their ramifications. Once again, PANDEF expresses gratitude to you for your patriotism and vision for the development of the Niger Delta. We also thank the Honorable Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Emmanuel Kachuku, for his commitments to the realization of peace, an initiative by the federal government, and same greetings goes to other members of your team. We pray for the quick recovery and return of our dear President Muhammadu Buhari. Thank you for your attention. God bless this gathering.
Representative of Niger Delta Forum, King Alfred Jaites Piff there. You're still watching signals from Benin as the Buhari administration consolidates on its promise to add value to governance in all spheres. At this point, it is right to refresh your memory that this initiative is born out of the desire to sort out the issue of resurgence of militancy in the Niger Delta.
Observe every other protocol. I'm here to speak on behalf of the youth of the producing communities. I don't want to emphasize what our elders have said already, but there are a few things I want to point out. First, it is very, very disheartening to find out that the golden hen that lays the golden egg is not taken care of. Why, without prejudice to the person or to my representative and leader who spoke from our local government, there's a need to see through from more lights on some area. For instance, Ben has 85 oil wells, and it is the biggest gas producer in West Africa as a whole. But if you go to Oben today and its neighboring environment, Oroho, Mogo and all that, there's nothing to write home about. The road leading from Benin to Abraka, which has long been abandoned by the Ministry of Niger Delta, and the only access road to that community is in deplorable state of disrepair. That is from Ugo, leading to Oben now. For instance, if you have to go to Oben, you have to pass through Delta if you want to make a fast and quick journey. We are appealing to our president to please come to our aid to ensure that that road, these two roads are very critical and crucial to us. First, apart from an oil producing area, we are also known for our agricultural productivity. How can we ship our agricultural products to the city for sales if those roads are in deplorable state of disrepair? Another serious menace that is plaguing us of recent time is the menace by the Hausa Fulani herdsmen. Our people have been driven out of their farms, and now there's no farm. The only means of livelihood for our people is that farm. We are appealing to the president, to the acting president, to please look into this crucial issue. And there are so many other ones we have named. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk on behalf of the youth. Thank you very much, sir.
Reverend Nemo Bassey, you are invited to the microphone, please. Reverend Bassey is the chairman of the board of directors of Environmental Rights Agency. Reverend Nemo Bassey, it's your turn to speak. Thank you, sir. We're waiting. Your strides can be bigger and faster than that. Thank you so much. The time is so spent. You have 5 minutes. You are a reverend gentleman. We are not asking you to quote scriptures. We simply ask you to make your address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the acting president of Nigeria, Your Excellencies, Governor of Edo State, deputy governors, honorable ministers, royal fathers, fathers and mothers, brothers and sisters. I would just like to reiterate the call by the youths to be empowered, as well as to be considered for full employment. And talk about the Niger Delta, one key area through which youths can be empowered and employed is for our youths to be trained to be involved in the cleanup that started from Ogoniland and extended throughout the whole Niger Delta, because our environment is thoroughly polluted and bastardized, and it will take lifetimes to repair the harm. And so it's a very clear area in which our youths can be trained and employed. Then I want to also
We sincerely apologize for a short break in transmission. We will be back in 2 minutes. We go with recognition.
This is a fulfillment of the people's yearnings. They have longed for inclusion in the activities in the region. And governments believe that you cannot develop the Niger Delta without the participation of our people. We are reaching you live from the Dr. Samuel Ogbemudia Hall on the Upper Mission Road, where the acting president has continued his meeting with oil-producing communities.
Thank you. Please, can we be quiet?
Just a reminder that only a few days ago, the acting president gave directive to oil companies to relocate to the region. This is all part of efforts to curtail crisis. In Uyo, where he gave the directive, he also told the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku, to liaise with the oil companies to ensure that the relocation is done. Before now, most of the international oil companies operating in the Niger Delta had head offices in other parts of Nigeria, probably due to the crisis. But with their presence, we are sure that we feel some sense of responsibility to the people whose land have been affected by oil exploration. Of course, it will also bring jobs for the youths and development to the area. Here, government is trying to find a lasting solution to the crisis in the Niger Delta region. Take, for instance, the oil spillage in the Ikara community in Eoba local government area has put fishing and farming to a halt. And of course, or as expected, this is the main occupation of the people. These issues are to be addressed here today.
And just to add that those ills led to dwindling revenue from oil production because from 2015, Nigeria began to lose 1 million barrels of oil daily, with almost 60% of revenues lost to activities of vandals. Therefore, these town hall meetings are aimed to explore workable strategies to put in place short to long-term solutions to the region and give it serious special development attention. We are still expecting comments from representatives of non-governmental organizations. And then we'll have the Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, address the gathering. And of course, His Excellency, Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki. And finally, the acting president of Nigeria.
To begin to train our youths to take up the opportunity of being involved in the cleanup as well as in the restoration that will take place after that. We also feel that a key way to build peace in the Niger Delta is to level the playing field when it comes to extractive sector business in Nigeria. The Solid Minerals Act of 2007 gives communities and environment very clear consideration. For example, if a mineral is found in a community, those exploring the mineral have a duty to negotiate with owners of the land and to pay annual rent. And the rent is actually reviewed every 5 years. But in the oil sector, we don't have anything like that. Communities are not really considered. And we believe that if the provisions in the Solid Minerals Act are also applied to the oil sector, it will level the playing field and we'll be able to build peace in our communities, because we will not be arguing about PIB, Petroleum Industry Bill, that is now broken into how many parts we don't know. And communities would have a clear say in what is done in their communities, in what is being extracted in their land, and how the land is also restored after the extraction. We believe that this is because this situation now has happened this way because the oil governing the oil sector are more or less oil wars, but now in a democratic setting, we need to review those laws and bring it to bear in line with the Solid Minerals Act of 2007. Mr. President, sir, we also believe that the militarization of the Niger Delta has gone on long enough. In the creeks, our citizens have to lift up their hands when they see the military. The collective humiliation of our people has gone on long enough, and this should be halted. I believe that it is possible to have a new Niger Delta, where the agencies like the Niger Delta Ministry and NDDC would place clear focus on young people and our environment, and that it is time really to shift a bit away from infrastructure politics and look more at social engineering of our communities, our environment, and our people. And so I conclude by reiterating the fact that it is time to carry out a thorough audit of the Niger Delta environment and later on extend to the entire Nigerian environment, so that we know exactly what has gone wrong and taking the necessary actions to rectify and to correct the situation. It is time too to provide our people with power, because why should someone live next to a gas flare, a source of energy being wasted, and yet remain in darkness? And so, Mr. President, I want to thank you for coming to Edo State. I want to request on behalf of our people that you focus a lot of attention on ensuring that organizations like the Edo State, Edo Sapadek is fully and timely funded, so that our people can feel the impact of the change that we hear so much about. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. You've just heard from Inimo Bassi, Director of Health of Mother Earth Foundation and Chairman, Board of Environmental Rights Action. Your Excellency, straight away we invite the Executive Director, African Network for Environment and Economic Justice, ANIJ, Reverend David Ugolo. Please can we put our hands together for him? While he's coming, the Commissioner representing Edo State on the Governing Board of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, with the Rector Edo State, Barrister Sega Glasgow, and other staff of NDDC Edo State Office are here in this occasion. You're very much welcome. Thank you. Please, you have 5 minutes to address us.
Your Excellency, the Acting President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Your Excellency, the Governor, Obaseki, and I'd like to stand on existing protocol. First, just 3 days ago, precisely on Wednesday, I was at the banquet hall where Your Excellency had the privilege to declare the National Dialogue on Corruption opened. At that dialogue, which was focusing on corruption, and I'd like to quote you, where you said, "So I think we should leave the finger pointing, because the finger pointing is unhelpful. What is important is that we should reorganize, that there is a major problem here." You went further. We should look for a model that work elsewhere so that we can apply it. And in the process, you went further to share your story, what happened in Lagos State. Flowing from that, sir, I'd like us to also bring that experience to bear in what you have heard from our people. The key issue is that it is not that there is no resources in the Niger Delta. Not that there is no institutions in the Niger Delta. What happened is that the institutions have failed. And the question is that, how do we make those institutions to work? And one of those key institutions in the region is NDDC and the Ministry of Niger Delta. But I can assure you that if you follow the traditional process, it won't work. You need to look for policy that will disrupt the rent-sinking culture, and people will not be happy with you. The current leadership that lives on rent, that have access to Aso Rock, that have access to the power, that patronize themselves with the contractors, they will not be happy with you. But if you want to satisfy the timid people, the youth, the people who are victims of corruption in the last 30 years, you have to disrupt the system. And to disrupt the system, technology. The resources that flow to the region, why is it not getting to the people? Why is it that after 30 years, the East-West Road from Benin to Calabar, why is it that every year it appears in the budget every year and nothing happens? Those are the questions. I want to assure you, like you have also done in Lagos State, we have also done like that in Benin. We have a report across the Niger Delta states. We did a survey. It will interest you to note that there are some projects NDDC claim to have implemented. When you get to the place, you will not see the projects. It will interest you to note that I'm very happy the Minister of Niger Delta is with you there, but it will interest you that if the governor is want to be friendly with you, tell him to point you the office of Minister of Niger Delta in Benin. You will not find it. And I don't want to take your time, sir. This is a research carried out with facts and figure. I hereby present it to you, sir. And so, if you want to disrupt the system, it's not to make the traditional rulers, the traditional power brokers, the politicians, you have to take steps not to make them feel happy. But the people, the youth, the people will be in support of you. We have suffered enough. What Niger Delta needs, the low-hanging fruit. If after 4 years, what will President and the Vice President Osinbajo will be remembered for? East-West Road. What has happened? The money for the contractors, where has it gone? That's one. Two, Niger Delta Development Commission. Professor Isage said in that dialogue, they have money to buy jeeps. They have money to buy different things. But why is the money not going to water projects? I want you to look to that. And then finally, civic engagement. I am happy that the federal government has signed on to the Open Governance Partnership, which deals with the issue of civic engagement. The power resides with the people. Any governor, any president that want to be remembered in future, your friends will abandon you when you are out of power, but the people will not abandon you. Stick to the people. God bless you.
Your Excellency, let it not appear as if it's all male affairs. We want to invite a woman to speak before the Honorable Minister will respond. Let me invite the woman representing the Ejo community, Victoria Botoki. Please, can you step forward? Quickly. We do not want to be accused of gender insensitivity. Please, for about 3 to 5 minutes, summarize your points. Thank you.
His Excellency, the Acting Vice President, and I stand on all existing protocols. Well, as a riverine woman, I am standing here in gap for the riverine women. Not just the riverine women, women of Edo State. We have suffered enough. We, the women, we are very vulnerable. In every crisis, it's the women that suffer. The children suffer. So, we are grateful that you are here today. But one thing I want to say, sir, Mr. Acting President, it is what you see. Whatever you see, you do not forget. And so, your mission to Edo State is a fact-finding mission. We are pained in the riverine area, even in other areas, that you have not come to see things for yourself. All these are paperwork. Because after these papers, you have not seen, maybe we are going to invite you back to Edo State, because we want you to be on ground, to see for yourself what we are suffering in the riverine area. Just in the land too, if you have gone to some communities, women are farmers. But today, they cannot farm because of oil spillage. When there is vandalization, in the riverine area we are handicapped. We do not even have water to drink. We cannot fish as women any longer. The men cannot even type their ogoro for cooking kankai. Because yellowish. What do we do, sir? That is why we really need you to see for yourself. Because all these talks, they will pile them up and nothing is coming out of it at the end of the day. Because what we are suffering, if you had gone to Gele Gele, that is when you have seen for yourself the gas flaring that women are suffering. The heat, even communities that are impacted. At night, if you go to somewhere like Obia, you find out that even at night you cannot sleep, and it is real health hazard for our people in all communities where there is gas flaring. And I know for some years ago, gas flaring penalty, that matter was resolved. Up till now, I don't think any community has received that penalty. Fine, none of them have received that. And so we are pleading, we are appealing to you. Don't leave these women and the youth. When these youths are agitating, what are they agitating for? Nothing for them to do. Somebody after secondary school has nothing to do. 10 years. By the time they are employed in the civil service, will anybody employ somebody that is above 30 years in the civil service, even in the private sector? After spending 10 years, 5 years, at home after graduation, apart from government now trying to build up infrastructural activities for them where they can work, particularly agriculture. We are praying that the agriculture project will really take place and there is sincerity of purpose for our youths. Because the younger ones coming, we look at the ones that are being rehabilitated. If you talk of 2009 rehabilitation, because if you rehabilitate them, they will now find out that, oh, I too should go for such. And so they go for it. So how do we curb restiveness? It is when we have infrastructural development. These boys, these youths are engaged. To me, when they started this fight, I was very happy because they made us to be liberated. They made Niger Delta to be liberated. They made Niger Delta to be recognized. And that was why Niger Delta Ministry came aboard. So, sir, talk about education. So many non-militants, not even from Edo State. I joined the scholarship of militancy. Where are our youths in Edo State? Let's go for statistics. In the private university, how many of our youths from Edo State are really giving this amnesty scholarship? The youth should say something. We want our youth, not just the boys, both male and female youths, even women in some other states like Ondo State. I doff my hat for Kinsley Kuku. Most women from Ondo State all got this scholarship. They are all trained, but none from Edo State. I want to see how many women that are trained here. So, sir, we are praying that good schools, because I remember some years ago, as of Senate visited River State communities, they said we are not educated in the riverine area. At the end of the day, they didn't see any good school, not even a school, not to talk of a good school. Then you want these women that are handicapped, no livelihood, to send their children to the town. You will rent a house. You will feed them and pay school fees. Mr. President, sir, we are pleading. Do something. Do something and do something. We are saying thank you, sir. Edo ni baje. Eko ni baje. Ijebu ono baje. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Your Excellencies, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are crossing over now to the establishment. And of course, it is my pleasure inviting Mr. Oil, the man who speaks oil, the man who speaks to OPEC and all the very important international institutions about oil, which is the mainstay of Nigeria's economy. And so it is my pleasure inviting the minister, Mr. Emmanuel Kachiku, to please speak to us. Sir, you gave everybody 5 minutes. I do not know, sir, whether there will be need for you to have a meeting again with the acting president, because I cannot speak to him to ask him to use 5 minutes, sir, except we take fresh instructions from you. Is it the same 5 minutes? Whether it's 5 minutes in Abuja, it is also 5 minutes here in Benin. Microphone finds you.
I will actually take less. Your Excellency, the Acting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, and of course, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, leaders of PANDEF here present, the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, my colleagues are here present, other members of His Excellency's entourage, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First, let me thank you sincerely for turning out en masse. I know it has not been easy putting together this visit, but I'm glad that despite the short notice that we gave you, a lot of you managed to come out here today. It shows clearly that a lot more people have bought into His Excellency's tour and the benefits of calm that it has restored to those communities where he has been to. The reality actually about these tours is that other than the message that His Excellency preaches, he also takes a divine religious calling to those territories. And so my belief is that once he has come and gone, a lot of our work in terms of finding calm and peace is then God ordained and will stay and last forever. I also thank people of Edo State particularly. This has been one state where there's been a lot of calm. But that calm is not because people here do not know what militancy is all about. It is because the governors, both Adams Oshomole before now and His Excellency Godwin Obaseki, who is now here now, have done tremendous amount of work in terms of engagement and reaching out, and have therefore continued to maintain the sort of quiet and calm that are essential for the very huge burdens that they carry of moving development at the pace that they have carried it on over the last few years. You have made 3 critical points in your complaints. One is the issue of oil block location and the need for equity in the assignment of those block locations. The other is, of course, the oil company community responsibilities and the fact that the oil companies have not done as much as you think that they should do in bringing succor and development to the communities where they operate. And of course, you've also mentioned the issue of the capacity for infrastructural development as led up by NDDC and Minister of Niger Delta on behalf of my colleague. I think those are the 3 critical areas that most of your complaints have mirrored around. I think that in terms of with the way forward, your message clearly says that there's an urgency to act and to act soon. You've also said that there's absolutely a need for a different way and a new way to do things. And the Minister of Petroleum has rolled out a 20-point agenda under the guidance of His Excellency, the President and the Acting President, in terms of how we're going to move forward to get the oil companies to be active in this area. And on this, we're working very collaboratively with my colleague, the Minister for Niger Delta, and trying to harmonize the things that we do so there's no duplication of efforts. But what is important to note is that stakeholder awareness is at the highest level ever. And so we can no longer get away, and oil companies can no longer get away with doing business as usual. So a lot more engagement is essential. All I will say, because I promised to do this for less than 5 minutes, is that the position of the executive is best articulated by the acting president, who is a better speaker and more eloquent than myself. And I'm sure in a few minutes, that mantle will fall on him. But all I will add is that we have come, we have listened, we have been challenged, we have been energized, and we're going to go back and work new models, hopefully that will satisfy you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Ibe Kachiku, the Honorable Federal Minister for Petroleum Resources. Microphone will find my colleague who will bring the other minister.
Thank you very much. Please, can we put hands together for the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Dr. Emmanuel Ibe Kachuku. I'd like to recognize our own son of the soil, the Honorable Minister of State for Health. Can we please put our hands together for Dr. Sage Ehanire? He's been here, and we're lucky to have that position. And of course, he has made us proud all the years. Thank you very much for coming. Let me use this opportunity now to invite a very distinguished minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Incidentally, is equally a pastor, just as the acting president is, Pastor Usani Uguru Usani. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
The acting president, Your Excellency, the governor and deputy governor, and my colleagues on the high table, distinguished audience. I'll briefly respond to the areas that affect the sector that I preside over, and I'll raise them as I recorded them on account of the speeches of those who presented the addresses here. The first thing is to talk about the NDDC abandoned projects. This observation is a commonplace in our minds. And on account of this, I've given a signal to the management of Niger Delta Development Commission that there will be a project audit across the region, which will determine what value for money that has been received on account of project implementation. So I am certain that in no distant time, the report will come to you, because we have done this at the level of the ministry. And today we have the report, which is soon to be presented to the Federal Executive Council for implementation. Secondly, we have heard the story about the exotic cars bought by the commission. As soon as I got this on the media, I made the inquiries to the commission, and the commission said they have not, under the current management that resumed on November 4th, 2016, bought any car. But I'm still verifying into it. And if such a thing has happened, probably it was before this management resumed. Nonetheless, when I conclude my investigation, the information will be made known to the public. Benin Abraka Road. That road is a project of the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. And I have been there personally. I have seen the extent of work done some many months ago. But knowing the region, and when projects are not attended to for some time, they continue to depreciate. But the basic problem we have here is not the unwillingness of the ministry or the contractors to perform. It is just that when there is no money, there's nothing anybody can do. And you know it's not peculiar with our ministry or our own projects. It is a common place in the current economic circumstance of the country. And we hope that by the interventions we are making, trying to source funds from elsewhere and other sectors, we will be able to continue all the works we've done. Obviously, there's a clear demonstration that the administration does not intend to abandon any project. And this is the reason we are mobilizing contractors back within our limited resources to continue what they have had in their hands. Somebody talked about reduction in recurrent costs of running the agencies. Of course, this is quite correct. I've also given a directive to the management of NDDC particularly to vet all the staff they have to be sure whether they need or they don't need, apart from other forms of expenditure that affect the running costs of the commission. However, we need also to know that even if the cost is exorbitant as far as it goes to cost of labor or personnel, we must be careful, because the only alternative might be to retrench workers, which is not a cardinal policy of this administration. But other areas of expenditure on recurrent basis are surely going to be tackled, to be curtailed. Somebody said there's no presence of the Ministry of Niger Delta in Edo State. Before we resumed in this office, this was the opinion held generally in Edo State and many other states. But when we visited the former governor, Adams Oshiomhole, we requested that he should give us some persons to go around to inspect the projects we have in the state. And 2 commissioners were given to us. And they were surprised that we had projects in the state that the state government did not know, because before this time, the ministry officials came straight from Abuja, went to project sites, and left without any notice to the state governments. So we have projects in the state, which I am sure the current government will also be introduced to. So they help us to monitor, because that is the essence of the collaborative efforts. Beyond this, we have a state office in each of the 9 states of the Niger Delta with a pool of staff representing each of the departments that exist in the ministry: engineering, housing and urban development, infrastructure, and so on and so forth. So we have a rented office in the state. And we made a request to the former governor for a parcel of land so we can build our own. And he has graciously granted that approval. We are working on the papers to formalize that good title to be able to start the project of our permanent office. So we have our presence in the state. The East-West Road, of course, is a concern for everybody that has interest in the Niger Delta. But I tell you, the efforts of government, to ensure the finishing of this project is quite high. Currently, the government has engaged the China Exim Bank, which is giving credit facility for infrastructure development in Africa. And this is one of the 5 projects nominated in Nigeria to be able to benefit from that facility. So all efforts being made on this project will continue until we realize our goal. Thank you very much.
Let there be quiet in the hall, please. Let there be quiet in the hall, please.
You have listened to the Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachuku. He says they have come, they have listened, and they have been challenged and will address the problems of the people. You've also heard from the Minister of Niger Delta, Usani Uguru. He says a project audit across the region will be carried out because of the common complaint of many abandoned projects and many substandard projects. It is to see if what was spent on the project matches what is on ground. You're watching the acting president's continued discussions with oil-producing communities. And in Edo, you have 3 local government areas: Eoba, AIA Northeast, and Oriomo, oil-producing areas.
Some agitators already in the hall, giving a sense of belonging. They are here to air their views, opinions, and make their positions known to the federal government. We can see a number of youths wearing black hats but inscriptions are not visible at this point, and that is the governor of Edo State trying to calm their nerves and listen to what they have to say.
Everybody should sit down. Everybody should sit down. Leave this place. Please, leave this place. Give space. Please. Give space. Please. Give space. Please. Give space. Go back to your seat. Go back to your seat. Go back to your seat. Please go back to your seat. Please go back to your seat. Madam, they will call you. Please. Madam, they will call you. Yes. Mr. President. Please, everybody go back to your seat.
Agitations from youths of the various oil-producing communities. They want the acting president to visit the communities see for himself, not just to hear at the meeting, but to see what is exactly happening there. They are being calmed by the first, Governor Gordon Obaseki, and his deputy, Comrade Philip Shaibu, trying to restore peace so that the meeting can continue. We have listened to speakers who have attributed the state of abandonment in the Niger Delta region to corruption.
And I think there is no cause for alarm because we have an array of security personnel to forestall any breakdown of law and order. We're still reaching you from Benin, the capital of Edo State. And according to the program, the acting president is expected to have meetings with Niger Delta youths in Government House later in the day. And earlier in the day, he visited the Eoba of Benin, the chief landlord of Benin City, Oba Ewire II. That is the deputy governor doing what he knows best, trying to calm the agitators.
Okay, I'll pass it today. Everybody sit down, please. Please sit down. Sit down. So that you can hear the issue. Sit down. Your protests have been heard. Sit down. Sit down, please. Sit down. Sit down so that we can hear our people. Egbemawan is here to explain the plight of Edo people. The Jews in Edo. Obaseki, sit down. Obaseki.
Of course, this is what democracy is all about. The acting president is still here to hear out his people, their grievances, and to proffer solutions. Like my colleague said, there's no cause for alarm. We have high level of security presence here. The acting president is allowing them come forth with their grievances. It is all in a bid to know their situation and how to address the problem. You also see the Deputy Governor, Comrade Philip Shaibu, there, trying to calm the youths and to restate government's commitment to peace and development in the Niger Delta region.
Please sit down. Allow me to say something. I am the great person to you people. I am from Edo State. I am from Edo State of your Southwest London and of your North Southeast. I say sit down. Edo youth and the show youth, sit down. Please sit down, be seated.
Of course, the people have a good course, taking the bulls by the horns, coming to meet the acting president himself without fear or favor. And what I can understand is that their means of livelihood, including fishing and farming, have been consistently destroyed by pollution. They are also lacking roads, schools, hospitals, and indeed social amenities. They are either lacking or inadequate. And of course, the federal government says in pursuit of its drive to partner with the oil-producing states, the local governments, oil companies, and other stakeholders, there must be light at the end of the tunnel as there will be rapid development of the area, and of course, there would be peace.
Complaints have also been received by the acting president on the negative effects of gas flaring, especially in Gelegele and Ikara community, that in most cases, members of these communities have been forced out of fishing and farming by oil spillage. They want their youths to be gainfully employed. And one way to do this, they have agitated for the development of the Gelegele seaport to create hundreds of jobs. Of course, this is a project that is dear to Governor Godwin Obaseki and the Benin monarch, Oba II. And now, government's attention is not just on the seaport. An agro-industrial park will also be located there to increase exportation of agricultural produce from the state. Governor Godwin Obaseki believes that the seaport has been wasting away for centuries, and it has a significant role to hasten economic development of Edo and fulfill his promise of creating 200,000 jobs in the next 4 years.
And of course, major stakeholders believe that corruption, patronage, and weak governance have led to underdevelopment and significant unrest in the region. And over the decades, they believe government has not done too well to meet the most basic needs of the communities. That is all what they're agitating about. And I think they will be grateful to the federal government for this initiative of coming to their doorstep.
Peace to reign in the Niger Delta. Also at the same time, he called us into Abuja to maintain the same peace. After that, we went back to our people and tell them, Edo State here, nobody should go and break pipe. Nobody should go and vandalize any government properties. I am with the government. I know the protocol of the government. I know everything of the government. If you are fighting for exhaust cost, you are to write to the government to let the government to know that yes, this is my problem. If the government cannot solve that problem, there you have way to destroy anything. But if you know the properties belongs to you, don't destroy it. So permit me, the job people in Edo State, we are suffered. These job people in Edo State have suffered. I will not look anybody face. Either if I died, I will not come back again. And I can make the sacrifice. I am from this state. These job people from this state, with your respect, if you go down and see things with your eyes by yourself, you will pity for us. And if you see any shaman carry arms in this state, it is because of ignoring us, not to give us what belongs to us. I can bet you the shaman cannot be a shaman in this state for immemorial. This state is now 25 years old. While we are in Pendle, I remember they used brutal local government to develop Edo State. So who I am talking to you, find a time, find your ministers, tell the amnesty coordinator they should move to our area to see things by himself. Thank you very much. May God bless us.
2 minutes. I greet the elders and I stand on existing protocol. I am a member of the Central Working Committee, Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF. My names are Don Ben, the Ododokro one of Olodiama Kingdom, from AIA Northeast local government area. I want to say something that beats our imagination. This morning, sir, we were at the airport tarmac. We saw 3 helicopters. We thought Mr. Acting President, who is a son of this region, will come and visit the oil and gas producing communities. So both of your Northeast, Eoba, and all of our local government, we are waiting tirelessly since yesterday, preparing for the arrival of our August visitor. But surprisingly, we were told that because the place is not secured, the acting president cannot come. We said, if you know our place is not secured for you to come, then leave our oil alone. Leave our oil alone. If you know our place is not secure to come, leave our oil alone. The militancy in the Niger Delta, the agitation started from Edo State. We have been making sure that pipelines, installations, and other government, parastatal, other government facilities were not tampered with in Edo State. Because we want to support this administration, we want to support the administration of President Muhammad Buhari, and we want to also support what the government is doing these days. But anything aside fact-finding, because this fact-finding was initiated from the Minister of Petroleum Office. That is why we interface with the X team. The team X brought about the situation of hostility in the Niger Delta. Tiko Goriba is here. My leader is here. Danny Bebida is here. Famous Danuma and the rest of us are here. Chrisikio and everybody, even as Uden Seradi, they are all here. We have been walking around in Niger Delta to make sure that pipeline never burst after the 60 days ceasefire. And they are waiting for us. So they never asked us to say we should hold town hall meeting. They said it's fact-finding. Please, Your Excellency, go to the oil and gas producing community, see things for yourself, and see how that place has been neglected. Thank you very much, and God bless you. 1 minute.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, the executive governor of Edo State, our father, let me stand on existing protocol. Firstly, sir, my names are Honorable Asoro Phillips, Edo State Chairman, Niger Delta Youth Movement. I want to first of all apologize on behalf of Edo youth and Edo people for the embarrassment we've caused this great occasion. We are sorry for such embarrassment. Then, Edo people were peace-loving people. But, Edo people were peace-loving people. But that does not mean we're cowards. The Benin's were peaceful people and would like things to go on peacefully. If we have our cause, we come to say it peacefully and directly. Let me start like this. The Benin's and the Edo people, we have been marginalized seriously, even in our own state. In the amnesty program that has been done years back, go and check, sir. Even when some people were being sponsored for some programs, go and check, sir. If the Benin's, if we have any representative in those programs. That does not mean we are not the people on ground, or because we are peace-loving people, we don't know what we are doing. So, sir, we want to appeal because we want to appeal, sir, because we want the president, sir, we want to appeal because in Edo State we have NDDC, we have a Ministry of Niger Delta, but we are not feeling the impact. And we, the Benin's, were not happy, and the youth of Edo State were not happy about that. So we want our people to be well recognized. We want job opportunity to be given to our people, because what other states, youth in other states in the Niger Delta, what they benefit, our Edo youth, we don't benefit it. We have friends in other states. We don't benefit it, and we're not happy about it. So, sir, we want to appeal that Edo youth, we should feel the impact of this government, of this change government that is going around. We want our youth to enjoy this government. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you. We are done. We are done. Please, can we take our seats now? The governor will want to address us. Thank you. Let's take our seats.
Your Excellency, Acting President, sir. Can we have some quiet, please? His Excellency, the Governor wants to address us. His Excellency, the Governor wants to speak to his people. Let there be quiet in the hall, please. Quiet, please, so that we can hear the Governor.
Hello?
The Governor is talking to you.
Great Edo youth! Great Edo youth! Great Edo youth! For the greatest of the greatest of the greatest Gbagbagbogbo! I beg make una not fall my hand though. Make all of una sit down. Make una sit down. Eyes on. Eyes on. It's all academia. It's all academia. Okay, make una sit down. Make una sit down.
Sit down.
I mean, una not be my in-law again. Make una sit down.
Sit down.
Mr. The acting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, S-A-N-G-C-O-N, His Excellency the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Right Honorable Philip Shoaibu, the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Dr. Justin Okonobo, the Senator representing Edo North, Senator Francis Alemikena, the Ministers of the Niger Delta, Petroleum Resources, Health, who are present here, we welcome you. Let me use this opportunity to also welcome all the traditional rulers, leaders and chiefs who are here today. Oba Atokpe. Mr. President, this is Edo State. What you have seen here today is representative of who we are. We allow ourselves to express our feelings. At the end of it all, we're peaceful people who know how to talk to each other. We have issues like every other group in Nigeria, but we know how to address our issues and how to resolve our issues. Therefore, let me formally welcome you to Edo State for this fact-finding visit. As you know, Edo State is the gateway to the Niger Delta. And in our state, we have 38 oil-producing communities and 205 flowing oil wells. And like most other oil-producing states or communities in Nigeria, we have had our own fair share of neglect and deprivation. And that is what you've heard from our people today. We know that the federal government has made several attempts in the past to try to develop our region, to try and develop these communities. They have tried to provide basic necessities, but as you have heard yourself, due to several factors ranging from corruption to ineptitude to lack of capacity, we have not been able to achieve our desired goals.
The youths of our states and of our producing communities are very restive. That is what you saw displayed now. That is the fact. They have a very strong feeling of deprivation and marginalization. And you can see how they have expressed themselves here this afternoon. The growing incidence of crime and violence in our communities has become a major threat to our socio-economic development. So it's like we're now being caught in a web. We must release ourselves now from that web. Edo State welcomes the bold and progressive initiative which you, our acting president, have taken. And we want to assure you, as you have heard from the various stakeholders, that we're prepared to support and work with the federal government. We, our host communities, realize that you cannot address all our demands in an environment which is characterized by insecurity. And that is what you heard from those young men who spoke, that they are prepared to support and protect the infrastructure of the oil industry in this country. In addition to these stakeholder meetings, Mr. Acting President, I want you to look into the various reports of the various commissions that have been put in place on the Niger Delta through the years. I also will appreciate, sir, if you can reconsider paying another visit when your schedule is less busy so that we can go to these various communities. As part of the efforts of my administration to curb the deprivation and the militancy in the oil-producing communities of Edo State, I have mandated the Edo State Oil and Gas Producing Areas Development Commission, EDOPADEC, to embark on the following: that we must now spend the resources from this year's budget to develop master plans for each of the 38 oil-producing communities in Edo State. We will now prioritize the projects in each community in line with the master plan. We will now align the budget and the spend by the Edo State government, the NDDC, the Ministry of Niger Delta, federal government, and the oil companies so that we can make more impact in these communities. Mr. President, with your permission and agreement with the federal government, we will not allow any government or any agency to operate in any of our oil-producing communities without strict adherence to our master plan. We will set up a review mechanism with the communities and their representatives to constantly review and evaluate the progress being made in this master plan. Mr. President, we're pleased to inform you that as part of our empowerment program, just this morning, we received a list from the Presidential Amnesty Program led by General Paul Borough on ex-militants that have been trained. Coincidentally, in the papers this morning, the Edo State government has now advertised as part of its job creation programs what we call the Agri-Preneur Scheme, where we currently are preparing almost 5,000 hectares of land for cropping this rainy season. And we are going to take a lot of the candidates on that list because they have received prior training to be part of this initiative. We have also resolved to partner with the various security agencies in the state in order to bring about an enabling environment where socio-economic development can thrive. Finally, I commend all of you, the good people of Edo State, for the relative peace that has existed in this state since my assumption of office. Wawese. I am delighted to note that all producing communities in the state have continued to embrace dialogue in conflict resolution. I wish to say that we should sustain this effort. Once again, Mr. President, we thank you and your entourage for this visit, and we are looking forward to you coming back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we redouble the round of applause for His Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Nogegase Obaseki. Thank you. We'd like to appreciate Mr. Acting President, and of course, very distinguished members of his team that right before His Excellency, the Acting President, will speak to us, let me recognize in his entourage the Deputy Chief of Staff, Office of the Acting President, Barrister Ade Akbeye. Please, can we put our hands together for him? We also like to recognize the MD of NDDC, Mr. Insiman Ikere. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let me also recognize very distinguished members of the Edo State House of Assembly that made it here today with Mr. Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly. Indeed, their presence here is of great importance to us. We wish to acknowledge the presence of a few of them that have come. Honorable Sunday Ege Osazemide is here with us. A round of applause. May we also recognize Honorable Ezei MD Igbas. Please, can we put our hands together for him? Honorable Christopher Ewe Okaiben. Can we please put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for him? Honorable Gani Audu is also a member of the Edo State House of Assembly and is here with us. A round of applause. May we recognize Honorable Lawani Damia. Honorable Kingsley Ogabi is also here. And of course, Honorable Peter Sivanos Iraga. Please, can we put our hands together for these honorable members of the Edo State House of Assembly, led by Mr. Speaker, Dr. Justin Okonabo. Once again, we request that we put our hands together for them. And let me also recognize very distinguished permanent secretaries of the various ministries of Edo State. They're all here to be part of this stakeholders meeting. Let me also recognize my brother, Barrister Wadiai, is also here. Thank you for coming. Now, Mr. Acting President is ready to address us. Shall we be all ears and listen attentively as we invite, with due respect, a very articulate Acting President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN GCON. Can we please put our hands together for His Excellency Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN GCON. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please sit. Oba Tokwai. Oba Tokwai. Eyes on. Eyes on. Well done, everybody. I'm now going to begin my own demonstration. I'm going to begin my own demonstration by myself and all of those who have come with me. Let me say, first of all, that I am very, very, very happy to be here. Our plan is to ensure that we visit all of the oil-producing communities. That is our plan. And just as was rightly said, we had stationed at the airport our helicopters in order to take us there. There's no issue of insecurity at all. There's no issue of insecurity. It is anybody who says so is not true. There's no issue of insecurity. We have been to other oil-producing communities. What has happened is that the Abuja airport will be closed from tomorrow. We will not have enough time this time to visit all the communities. But the governor and I had agreed that we must pay a visit in order to visit each and every one of the communities, and we will do so. Your Excellency, the Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the Right Honorable Comrade Philip Shaibu, the Deputy Governor, the Honorable Ministers who are present, Ministers of the Niger Delta, Petroleum Resources, and the Honorable Minister of State for Health, Distinguished Senator Frank Alimikena, Distinguished Senator Femi Ojudu, all of their Royal Majesties and Royal Highnesses here present, distinguished leaders of communities, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely pleased, as I said, to be here in Edo State, the heartbeat of the nation. I'm here as an emissary of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari. In November 2016, the Pan Delta Forum visited the President and submitted a 16-point roadmap on developing the oil-producing communities in Nigeria. The President thereafter decided that we must undertake visits to the oil-producing communities and engage with the people and leadership of the oil-producing communities to hear them and to seek to better understand their problems and concerns firsthand, and to offer the oil communities a new vision and a new compact. That is why I'm here, meeting in this town hall meeting, first with the leadership of the oil-producing communities and trying to better understand what the issues are, because the leadership must be able to produce what those issues are so that we can deal with them. The majority of people of the oil-producing communities, and this is so for several parts of our country, have heard of the wealth that oil has brought, but they have hardly benefited from it. The story of devastation is everywhere. Everywhere you look, the story is the same. Farmers and fishing communities have mostly lost their means of livelihood. And so many people have been deprived. Many of the oil-producing communities, I have studied this issue very, very closely. I have read up and have listened to several of the complaints in several areas. I've looked at some of the issues, I'm going to talk about that, of abandoned projects. I can tell you precisely how much has been voted or spent in several of our oil communities, and there is no sign of development in those areas. I can tell you how many of these projects are supposed to have been completed, and when you look in the books, they say they have been completed, but they have not been completed. They haven't even been done. Many have not even been started at all. That is the story, not just in the oil-producing communities here in Edo State, but it's a story everywhere. It's a story of neglect. It's a story in many cases of corruption that has deprived our people, and especially people in the oil-producing communities, of their means of livelihood for so many, many years. That is one of the issues that we intend to address. And this is where I've come on behalf of the President Commander-in-Chief with cabinet colleagues and heads of relevant agencies to propose a new way of doing things, to signpost a new era to the oil-producing communities of the Delta and of every one of the states of Nigeria. This is an important engagement. It is not an engagement that we are taking lightly at all. It's not. The reason why I've spent the past few days going from place to place, from community to community, is because this is a serious engagement. We are committed to every one of the things that we say we want to do. It does not make sense for leadership to look at the plight of the people, especially in the oil-producing areas. This is the source of the wealth of the nation, and to ignore the people. Even if you ignore the people for a while, the time will come when you can no longer ignore them. So there is no question at all that we are committed to doing what we say that we've said we will do. And that is a pledge coming directly from the President himself, President Muhammadu Buhari. The federal government has begun a partnership with the oil-producing states, local governments, oil companies, private sector, and civil society organizations for the rapid development of these communities. It is our belief that we must treat oil-producing communities as special development areas, focusing in particular on how to ensure that the people see the benefits of the wealth of the land. And when I say the people, I mean that very seriously. The people, the elite everywhere, and it's not just in the oil-producing communities. The elite have very frequently deprived the people of the opportunity to enjoy the fruit of the land. That is the Nigerian story. When I listened to Reverend Ugolo speaking, he spoke my mind that the elite in Nigeria, and this is an issue that we must deal with, has generally speaking not allowed the people, the actual people, the man on the street, to enjoy the fruit of the land. And that is something that we must deal with. We cannot continue as if we do not know. We know the issues. It's not just an oil-producing community issue. It is across the country. If you look at the number of contracts and the volume and money that has been spent on paper in this country, it is enough to develop several countries. But these monies have been usually corruptly taken away. It's our duty to ensure that we speak up against all of these things and ensure that our people feel the real benefits of the wealth that this country has. I want to say that the new vision will define the future. This new vision that I'm speaking about will define the future. Oil exploitation by itself cannot suffice to assure our people of decent jobs and decent income. It's not enough. We must make our oil-producing communities hubs for petrochemical industry, small and large. I've been speaking to the governor. He was talking about some of the gas projects that are going to be taking place in the urban region with some of the private companies. And this is an important project which we must pursue, and we must see it to the end, because it is these sorts of projects that will provide jobs for the people. We must make these communities, the oil-producing communities, hubs for refining and related activities. The Ministry of Petroleum, in collaboration with the oil companies, is working on a 20-initiative program for host communities, state by state. And this includes working with illegal refineries so that we can bring them into a program of what we have described in other states as modular refineries, a program of modular refineries, so that these illegal refineries can become hubs for refining, for proper refining. There's no doubt that thermal power stations should be stationed here. It makes sense. The gas deposits are already here. And already the governor of the state is working on a 50 megawatt project using the gas resources that are already located there. The federal government will partner with the state government to ensure that we're able to use those gas resources in order to power this state. I've listened to the concerns of the oil-producing communities in the AIA Northeast local government, Orion 1, Eoba local government. And I note that for over 40 years, there has been no sabotage of oil pipelines or oil facilities in these oil-producing communities. Now, let me say that this is a far-sighted and productive approach adopted by the young people of these areas. One of the things that it has meant is that there will be less environmental damage, and the stability that you have produced will attract local and international investments for a long time to come. I want to commend the very strong leadership of the elders of the communities and for the youth of the communities for sustaining this no damage policy. I will look into the key issues raised here by the representatives of the various local governments and interest groups. Let me address some of the generic ones. Abandoned projects by the NDDC and the Ministry of the Niger Delta. I'm excited to see a comprehensive work which was done by ANEJ, represented by Reverend David Ugolo, and he made a presentation here, and I have the presentation with me. And I'll be working with the Honorable Minister for the Niger Delta and the NDDC to ensure that we get the projects back on track and that we hold defaulting companies to account. I've already said, and we have already ordered all of the contractors who have abandoned their projects back to site. We are going to ensure that any contractor who has taken money and has abandoned his project is prosecuted. They must be held to account. Nobody can be allowed to get away with an abandoned project and take away the money. We will make sure that everybody who has taken a contract is held to account. And I can assure you that that will be done. I listened to Chief Victoria Potoki, who spoke about the problems that young people are experiencing, the problems of young graduates who have no work. And I must say that she represents the heart of every Nigerian parent who has to watch year after year their children being unemployed. We have a duty as governments at every level, state and local governments, to provide the opportunities for these young people. It's our duty to do so. We cannot shy away from that responsibility, and we will do so. On the exclusion from the amnesty program, some of the specific issues include some of the specific issues, and I'm sure that the head of that project, who is here, will look into those specific issues. We will ensure that every community is part of that program. That is the plan. Every community must be part of the program. It's not a program for some exclusive communities. It is a program for every community. Some of the other issues that have been mentioned, the bypass and all that, the bypass, especially the bypass, which was described as a bridge through the oil-producing areas, we certainly are going to take a look at that. Developing facilities in the 11 oil-producing communities in the Eoba local government area, including road networks, hospitals, and schools. All of that we must do. But I want to say that with respect to teachers, because that point was made, that the communities lack teachers. We have a program called the N-Power program for hiring teachers in every state. It is part of our graduate employment program, the N-Power program. We have engaged in Edo State a total of 4,703 unemployed graduates. And we are working with the state government. I'll give you the breakdown per local government. In AIA Northeast local government, we have engaged 105 who will be teachers. In Eoba, 890, and in Orion 171. They will be teachers in those local governments. And they have already been hired. We are working with the state governments to ensure that they are accredited and that they are paid. They will be paid by the federal government. That will take care of some of the needs of teachers that we have in those local governments. The state government is also working with us to ensure that the accreditation is speedy and that this is done properly. The provision of social amenities is not a favor. It's not a favor. It's a duty that every government has to its people, and we intend to fulfill that duty. Regarding the export-free zone in Gele Gele, this is a very important project. We had a discussion earlier on today with the Eoba of Benin, His Royal Majesty, just this morning on that export-free zone. The export-free zone in Gele Gele is one that we are going to work on very, very seriously because it's an important link, because it's a very important link to what we are doing already. That free zone is supposed to be a supplier to the larger ports, to the Lagos port, to the Warri port, and all the other larger ports. So we are working on it with the state government and with several of the local communities there. We are also looking at Oben and Ikpoboha. All of these areas and all of this we are going to look at very closely. What has happened in the Oben communities is something that we must pay attention to. The governor has flagged it, we have flagged it, and we are certainly going to look at it. And after the visit that we are going to pay to those areas, we are going to spend some more time looking at the specific things that need to be done in those areas. Your Excellencies and Your Royal Majesties and the great people of Edo State, we must make haste. We must make haste and we must act quickly. This government has only been in office now for under 2 years. But we are engaging directly with the oil-producing communities because we think that the oil-producing communities represent, in many ways, the future of this great country. And we must ensure that we do not treat their matters lightly in any way. But we must move quickly. We cannot afford to waste time. We cannot afford to waste time. We cannot spend time on conflicts. We can't spend time on arguments. This is the time for action. The reason why I'm here, and the reason why I've taken the trouble to come here by myself, representing the President, Commander-in-Chief, is because we believe very strongly in these engagements, and we believe that the future lies in being able to ensure fairness, justice, and equity for the people of the oil-producing communities, and here, especially in Edo State. So I want to thank you very much. I want to thank the governor of the state for hosting us, and I want to thank all the leaders of the communities who have come here today, and everybody who is here. Our nation needs the contribution of each and every one of us. But whatever the conflicts may be, whatever the difficulties may be, we must still sit down and resolve those issues. It is by sitting down and talking, it is by sitting down and working it out that we can resolve the issues that concern us the most. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Shall we all rise to receive the acting president? Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this is just an announcement. As soon as we take the national anthem, we appeal to you to not leave the hall because there is a slight refreshment for each and every one of us. Let me repeat, don't be in a hurry to leave the hall. Just stay where you are. Immediately after the national anthem, Mr. Acting President and all members of his entourage will leave the hall, and those of us who are standing will still sit down and be entertained by the organizers of the program. The national anthem, please. Thank you very much indeed. Let the doors be open.
Acting President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, SAN. He has spoken to the people. He's happy that they can pour out their grievances. This meeting is one to propose a new way of doing things in the Niger Delta region. And the federal government says it is committed to every one of the things it says it will do, and revamp the Niger Delta region is one of it. He says federal government will treat oil-producing communities as special development areas to help them benefit from the wealth of their land. He has promised that prompt action will be taken and positive change will come to the region. And that's how it has been on the town hall meeting of the federal government with members of oil-producing communities in Edo State. Thank you for being part of this program. I am Agatha Egwari Ojo, and on behalf of the entire Outside Broadcast crew and my senior colleague, Ogochukwu Kaona, thank you for watching. Good afternoon.